Think for a moment about your average day. You wake up, maybe scroll through your phone, make coffee, commute to work. How much of that time, how many of those actions are truly deliberate? How much of your day, honestly, is spent on autopilot? And what about your mind? Even when you're not physically on autopilot, how often do you find your thoughts just spiraling? Ruminating over a conversation from yesterday, stressing about a deadline next week, jumping from one half-formed idea to another. It feels busy, doesn't it? Like a constant mental hum. Yet, despite all that internal noise, all that activity, how often does it actually lead to a clear solution, a decisive action, or a genuine sense of understanding? More often, it feels like a hamster wheel, lots of effort, no real progress. A mind full of chatter, but surprisingly empty of true, intentional thought. What if I told you there's a way to quiet that unproductive noise? A method, almost a century old, that empowers you to take the reins, to transform that scattered mental energy into focused, purposeful thinking. Imagine making clearer decisions, understanding complex problems with greater ease, and experiencing a profound sense of control over your own intellect. It's not about being smarter, it's about thinking smarter. This isn't some new age self-help guru's latest pronouncement. This is the profound wisdom of one of history's most influential thinkers, a foundational architect of modern education and psychology. We're talking about John Dewey and his timeless masterpiece, How We Think. Join us as we unlock Dewey's revolutionary insights, not just into what we think, but how we think, and discover how to reclaim true mastery over our minds. Ever felt like your brain is a browser with 50 tabs open, each one screaming for attention, yet you can't quite focus on any of them? Or perhaps you've agonized over a decision, dissecting every angle, talking to everyone you know, only to end up making a choice that felt off. I certainly have. A few years ago, I faced a significant career crossroads. I spent weeks, maybe even months, in a constant state of what I thought was deep consideration. I made spreadsheets, pro-con lists, sought advice from mentors, friends, family, you name it. My mind was a whirlwind of data, hypotheticals, and anxieties. Ultimately, I made a decision that on paper looked perfect. But within months, it became glaringly obvious it was entirely the wrong path for me. I realized my problem wasn't a lack of thinking, it was a lack of effective thinking. I was overthinking in the worst possible way, getting lost in the weeds instead of navigating with clarity. That's when I stumbled upon a book written over a century ago, John Dewey's How We Think. And honestly, it changed everything. You might hear 100-year-old book on thinking and picture a dusty, academic tome filled with impenetrable jargon. But I promise you, Dewey's work is anything but. Instead, I've come to see it as an owner's manual for the human mind, a remarkably practical, incredibly timely guide for navigating the chaos of the 21st century. Think about it: information overload, the pervasive spread of fake news, the sheer complexity of personal and professional decisions we face daily. These challenges make clear, reflective thought not just an academic exercise, but a survival skill. My goal with this video isn't to give you a history lesson on John Dewey. It's to humanize his profound insights, to translate his wisdom into actionable steps and practical tools you can use today to cut through the noise, make better decisions, and ultimately live a more thoughtful, intentional life. We're going to unlock the secret weapon that is your own mind, guided by a master. So, what can you expect? We'll start by unpacking why clear thinking is harder than ever in our modern world, and why Dewey's framework provides the perfect antidote. Then, we'll dive into his elegant, 5-stage process of reflective thought, a mental blueprint that transforms nebulous problems into solvable challenges. After that, we'll explore how to apply these stages to everything from deciding what to have for dinner to making life-altering career choices, complete with practical exercises and real-world examples. Finally, we'll equip you with actionable strategies to integrate Dewey's wisdom into your daily routine, turning how we think from a concept into a tangible, empowering skill. By the end of this journey, you won't just know about thinking, you'll have a clear roadmap for how to think more effectively, decisively, and with genuine insight. Welcome to Chapter 1, the difference between a stream of thoughts and actually thinking. This distinction, laid out so clearly by John Dewey, is foundational to everything we'll explore about improving how we engage with the world. Dewey wants us to understand that there's a crucial difference between the constant mental activity we all experience and what he defines as genuine thinking. Most of us go about our day believing we're thinking, when in fact, we're often just riding the waves of what he calls the stream of consciousness. To grasp this, let's use an analogy. Imagine your mind as a vast, powerful river. It's always flowing a ceaseless current of ideas, memories, sensations, worries, desires, observations, and random associations. Thoughts drift by, one leading to another, sometimes meandering, sometimes rushing, often without any particular direction or purpose. This is our default mental state, the background hum of our inner world. It's passive, we're simply experiencing the flow. This is the stream of thoughts, a natural and unavoidable part of being human. It's not inherently bad, but Dewey argues it's not thinking in its highest, most productive sense. Now, consider a different image, a carefully engineered canal. Unlike the untamed river, a canal is built with a specific purpose. Its waters are channeled, directed, and harnessed. This canal represents reflective thought. Reflective thought is deliberate. It doesn't just happen, it starts when we encounter a problem, a perplexity, a genuine question that demands an answer, or a situation that requires a solution. When we engage in reflective thought, we actively intervene in the mental flow. We gather relevant information, evaluate possibilities, trace potential consequences, and suspend judgment until we can arrive at a reasoned conclusion or a practical solution. It's an active process of inquiry, seeking to resolve ambiguity or overcome an obstacle. It's purposeful, orderly, and disciplined. Here's the crucial insight: most of what we casually label as thinking in our daily lives is merely the river that constant, often chaotic mental noise. We jump from one idea to the next, react emotionally, recall memories, or speculate idly without the specific aim of solving a problem or reaching a justified conclusion. We might be contemplating something, but unless it's a focused, deliberate process aimed at resolution, it remains part of the stream. Dewey isn't suggesting we try to stop the river. That's both impossible and undesirable. Our stream of consciousness is vital for creativity, memory, and simply navigating our environment. The goal, instead, is to learn how to divert some of that mental energy, when needed, into the more structured, purposeful path of the canal. It's about cultivating the skill to shift from passive observation of our mental landscape to active, reflective engagement with a specific problem or question. Understanding this fundamental difference is the first, most critical step in learning how to think more effectively, more productively, and ultimately, more meaningfully. It's about discerning when a situation calls for more than just mental noise, when it truly demands genuine reflection. This distinction is where our journey with Dewey truly begins. Welcome to Chapter 2, The Gift of Doubt: Why Problems Are the Starting Line for Genius. It's a bold title, isn't it? Genius, starting with problems? Most of us view problems as obstacles, things to avoid, detours from our smooth path to success. We seek solutions, answers, clarity. But what if I told you that, according to John Dewey, our very understanding of thinking is fundamentally flawed if we believe it begins with an answer? Dewey presents a truly counterintuitive, yet profoundly liberating idea. Genuine, productive thought doesn't originate from a state of knowing, but from a state of not knowing. It springs from doubt, from perplexity, from a felt difficulty. Problems in Dewey's framework are not roadblocks to be circumvented. They are the fertile ground from which all true intellectual growth sprouts. Uncertainty isn't a signal to panic, it's an invitation to engage, a positive trigger for mental expansion. Think of it this way: when do you genuinely think? Not when everything is clear, predictable, and sailing smoothly. You think when you face a choice, when an accustomed path is blocked, when an expectation is unmet. Dewey beautifully illustrates this with the metaphor of a fork in the road. When you're walking a familiar path, you don't typically stop to reflect on your route. Your actions are habitual, almost automatic. But suddenly, you come to a fork. Two paths diverge, and you don't know which one leads to your destination. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a moment of profound significance for your mind. This fork creates a genuine dilemma, a moment of suspense. And it is precisely this suspense, this moment of arrest in our usual flow of action, that compels reflective thought. Our ordinary human inclination, however, is often to recoil from this discomfort. We dislike the feeling of being unsure, of not having an immediate answer. Our modern world, saturated with instant information and quick fixes, only amplifies this tendency. We're conditioned to seek the fastest, easiest solution, often without truly understanding the problem itself. We'll jump to the most convenient path at the fork, even if it leads us astray, simply to escape the unsettling feeling of indecision. But Dewey urges us to resist this urge. He argues that rushing to an easy answer, or worse, adopting someone else's answer without genuine inquiry, isn't thinking at all. It's a surrender to intellectual laziness. The true genius, the true thinker, doesn't shy away from that initial confusion. Instead, they lean into it. They recognize that embracing this perplexity, sitting with the question, and allowing the felt difficulty to fully manifest is not a sign of weakness, but the essential first step on the path to genuine wisdom, to innovation, and ultimately to profound understanding. It's the moment when the journey of real inquiry truly begins. Welcome back. In our previous chapters, we explored why thinking matters and how habits can sometimes hinder our ability to truly reflect. Now, it's time to put theory into practice. In this chapter, we're diving into the heart of John Dewey's brilliance, his 5-step method for reflective thought. Think of this not as some abstract philosophical concept, but as your personal GPS for navigating intellectual challenges, a mental toolkit designed to bring clarity to any situation. Dewey observed that effective thinking, the kind that genuinely solves problems and deepens understanding, tends to follow a natural progression. He distilled this into 5 distinct, yet interconnected phases. They are: first, feeling the problem, recognizing that something is amiss, a sense of perplexity or doubt. Second, defining the problem, clarifying what exactly the issue is, narrowing its scope. Third, suggesting solutions, brainstorming potential answers or courses of action. Fourth, reasoning it out, logically exploring the implications of each suggested solution. And finally, testing it, verifying the chosen solution through action or further observation. Now, it's crucial to understand something right from the start. Dewey's 5 steps aren't a rigid, linear formula that you must follow in perfect order every single time. Life and thought rarely work that way. Instead, see them as a flexible framework, a natural process of inquiry that our minds often move through, sometimes cycling back and forth, sometimes skipping a perceived step only to return to it later. It's an organic, dynamic dance between doubt and inquiry, observation and ideation. To illustrate just how ingrained and intuitive this method can be, let's take a common, everyday scenario. Imagine this: you're rushing out the door, ready to leave, and suddenly your keys are nowhere to be found. 1. Feeling the problem, that immediate jolt of annoyance, the "oh no, where are my keys?" panic. That's the first step, recognizing an indeterminate situation, a feeling of discomfort or disarray. 2. Defining the problem, you quickly narrow it down. It's not all keys, it's my car keys. They were here a moment ago. The problem isn't that they're lost forever, but that their current location is unknown and preventing you from leaving. You define the specific obstacle. 3. Suggesting solutions, your mind starts to race. Did I leave them on the kitchen counter? Are they in my jacket pocket? Maybe I put them down by the door, or perhaps they're still in the car ignition. You're generating hypotheses, potential answers. 4. Reasoning it out, you quickly evaluate these suggestions. No, I just came from the living room, so they're unlikely to be in the kitchen. My jacket is still hanging up. I haven't worn it today. I distinctly remember taking them out of the car. You're mentally checking the plausibility of each idea against your current knowledge. 5. Testing it, you start to act. You check your pockets, you look on the side table by the door, you glance at the car's steering column through the window. Ah, there they are, sitting right on top of the mail pile, exactly where you set them down while grabbing a letter. You've tested your hypotheses, and one has proven correct, resolving the initial problem. See how quickly and naturally you apply these steps without even thinking about it. That's the power of Dewey's insight. While this lost keys example is simple, the very same framework applies to complex scientific discoveries, intricate business strategies, or even profound personal dilemmas. In the chapters that follow, we're going to dive deep into each of these 5 phases, exploring the nuances, the common pitfalls, and the specific techniques you can employ to master each step. We'll unpack how to truly feel a problem beyond superficial irritation, how to define it with precision, how to cultivate creative solutions, how to reason with rigor, and finally, how to test your conclusions effectively. By the end of this journey, you'll have a robust, practical method for clear, purposeful thinking, ready to apply to any challenge life throws your way. So, let's prepare to think more effectively, starting with the very first spark of inquiry. Welcome back. In our deep dive into John Dewey's How We Think, we arrive at Chapter 4, focusing on the foundational first 2 steps of effective problem solving, moving from something's wrong to here's the exact problem. Our first step is recognizing a felt difficulty. This is that initial flicker of unease, that nagging sense that something is amiss, an indeterminate situation disrupting your expectations. The temptation is to rush past this discomfort, leaping to immediate conclusions or ignoring it entirely. But Dewey urges resistance. This initial, often vague, feeling is vital. It's the check engine light on your dashboard. Don't just cover it up. Acknowledge it. Allow this discomfort space. Its very vagueness holds the raw data for what's to come. Rushing past often means solving the wrong problem or none at all. This stage is about accepting ambiguity, not shying away. Once acknowledged, we move to the second, equally vital step, translating that vague unease into a clearly defined, solvable problem. Here we structure ambiguity, transforming "I feel uneasy" into a precise statement. We achieve this by employing a powerful technique, asking targeted questions. Think of it as a journalistic approach. What exactly is the difficulty? Describe it concretely. Is it a decline in sales, a recurring argument, a software malfunction? Where is this difficulty occurring? Pinpoint its location, its context. Is it limited to one department, one product? Specific interactions. When does it happen? Is it seasonal, daily after a particular event, or at specific times? Why might it be happening? Explore initial hypotheses or contributing factors. Consider a business scenario: declining customer satisfaction. The initial felt difficulty is customers aren't happy. A hasty response: bigger discounts or hire more reps, often misfires, wasting resources on a vague problem. Now applying our clarifying questions: what is the exact problem? Customer satisfaction for our premium subscription tier, specifically regarding technical support responsiveness, dropped 20% in 6 weeks. Where is this happening? Primarily affecting European users interacting with our third-party outsourced support team. When did it start? 6 weeks ago, coinciding with a new ticketing system and a shift in support management. Why might this be? Initial data suggests longer wait times and a perceived lack of personalized service from the new team. See the difference? We moved from a generic complaint to a specific, actionable problem. This prevents misdiagnosis. If the issue is outsourced technical support, bigger discounts are useless. This rigorous articulation highlights a timeless truth. A problem well stated is a problem half solved. Why half solved? Because defining it with such precision narrows the field of potential solutions dramatically. It provides a clear target, making subsequent steps of generating and evaluating ideas far more efficient. Understanding the what, where, when, and initial why illuminates the path forward. It transforms an overwhelming, nebulous challenge into a manageable, structured inquiry, preparing for intelligent action, not reactive guesswork. This clarity empowers truly impactful solutions. Welcome back, inquisitive minds. We've navigated the initial stages of reflective thinking. First, recognizing a perplexing difficulty, that unsettling feeling of something's not quite right. Then, in our second step, we took that vague unease and sharpened it, precisely locating and defining the problem at hand, transforming it into a clear, articulate question. Now, we arrive at what is arguably the most exciting and often the most surprising phase of this journey. Chapter 5, Step 3, the leap of imagination, or as we title it here, where ideas come from. This is the very essence of creativity in action, the moment your mind begins to spontaneously generate potential solutions, or what Dewey calls suggestions. Think of this stage as the ultimate brainstorming session, but an internal one, where the problem you've carefully defined acts as a magnet for all your accumulated knowledge and past experiences. It's not about logical deduction yet. It's about intuition making a powerful, often subconscious, jump. Imagine you've clearly articulated the problem. Why is my houseplant wilting despite regular watering? Suddenly, from the depths of your mind, a cascade of possibilities might emerge. Maybe it's overwatering. Perhaps it's not getting enough sunlight. Could it be a nutrient deficiency in the soil? Is there a pest I haven't noticed? These suggestions don't just appear out of thin air. They spring from everything you've ever learned about plants, gardening, or even general problem solving. Your brain, having been fed a specific question, now rummages through its vast archives, seeking connections and patterns that might offer a way forward. This is where your unique background truly shines, shaping the initial array of ideas that come to the forefront. But here, a crucial warning from Dewey: the danger of falling in love with the very first suggestion. It's an all-too-human tendency. Our minds crave closure, and when that first aha moment strikes, there's a powerful urge to embrace it immediately as the solution. However, this premature commitment can be a significant roadblock to true reflective thought. If you latch onto the first idea, say, "It must be overwatering," you risk dismissing other, potentially more accurate or comprehensive explanations without proper consideration. You shut down the creative flow too soon, narrowing your perspective before you've even had a chance to fully explore the landscape of possibilities. Dewey implores us to resist this urge. Instead, our goal in step 3 is to generate as many diverse hypotheses as possible. Think broadly, think wildly, even think counterintuitively. Don't censor yourself. If one idea pops up, acknowledge it, but then actively push your mind to find another and another and another. For our wilting plant, consider: what if it's a drought? What if the pot is too small? What if the water quality is bad? The more varied and numerous the suggestions you can conjure, the richer the pool of potential solutions you'll have to draw from. This expansive approach ensures that when we move to the next step, evaluating and testing these ideas, we're not just picking the lowest hanging fruit, but genuinely seeking the most robust and accurate explanation. It's about quantity, diversity, and a temporary suspension of judgment, allowing your imagination to truly soar before gravity pulls us back to Earth for rigorous examination. All right, we've arrived at Chapter 6, Step 4, Becoming a Mental Scientist, Thinking Through Your Ideas. After generating various suggestions and possible solutions in the previous phase, the crucial next step isn't to immediately jump into action. That would be impulsive, not reflective. Instead, Dewey urges us to become mental scientists, engaging in the highly analytical phase of reasoning. This is where we truly think through our ideas, elaborating on them mentally and predicting their logical consequences. Think of this as the ultimate mental simulation step. Before committing resources, time, or effort to a particular solution in the real world, you can test it rigorously within the laboratory of your mind. It's about asking: if I implement this solution, then what logically follows? What are the direct consequences? What are the indirect ripple effects? This if-then framework is the bedrock of reflective reasoning. It's the power of foresight, allowing us to mentally run through scenarios, anticipate challenges, and even spot potential failures long before they become costly real-world mistakes. Imagine the resources saved, the time preserved, and the frustration avoided by identifying a flawed approach before you've invested heavily in it. This is the profound practical advantage of truly thinking. A key tool in this mental simulation is deduction. Deduction involves reasoning from a general principle to a specific case. For instance, if you have a general understanding that all well-maintained machines perform efficiently your general principle, and you're considering a specific solution that involves improving machine maintenance, your specific case You can deduce that this specific solution should lead to improved machine efficiency. Or, if you know that customers value prompt service general principle and your proposed solution is to streamline the checkout process specific case, you can deduce that this should lead to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. Deduction helps us connect our proposed solutions to established truths or observed patterns, lending weight to our predictions. As you engage in this intricate dance of if-then thinking and deduction, it is absolutely vital to cultivate the mindset of an impartial judge of your own ideas. We all have a natural tendency to fall in love with our own brilliant suggestions, to see only their strengths and overlook their weaknesses. But a true mental scientist, following Dewey's prescription, approaches their hypotheses with a healthy skepticism, striving for objectivity. Be your own toughest critic. Actively seek out the flaws, the potential pitfalls, the counter-arguments. Don't just look for evidence that supports your idea, deliberately search for evidence that might disprove it. This isn't about self-sabotage, it's about intellectual honesty and ensuring that only the most robust, well-vetted solutions progress to the next stage. It's about letting the best idea win, not just your favorite one. This rigorous, analytical phase is what separates mere wishful thinking from genuine reflective thought. It's the intellectual crucible where ideas are forged, tested, and refined, preparing them for the ultimate trial of reality. Welcome back to our journey through John Dewey's How We Think. We've arrived at Chapter 7, Step 5, where the rubber meets the road, testing your beliefs. This is the critical juncture, the moment your carefully constructed hypotheses finally encounter the untidy, unpredictable world. It's about grounding your thoughts in reality, moving beyond mere contemplation to concrete verification. Dewey makes it unequivocally clear, thinking isn't truly complete, it isn't fully reflective, until it connects back to the real world. You can hypothesize, you can intellectualize, you can reason meticulously within the confines of your mind, but until those ideas are put to the test, they remain just that, ideas. They lack the validation, the empirical feedback that transforms them into genuine knowledge or refined understanding. This final phase is where your mental work is either confirmed, modified, or perhaps completely overturned by actual experience. Now, let's distinguish between two ways we might engage with reality: passive observation versus active experimentation. Passive observation is like simply watching the world unfold, waiting for conditions to arise that might confirm or deny your idea. It's useful, certainly, for gathering initial data, but it often leaves too much to chance and can be slow. Active experimentation, however, is a deliberate, intentional intervention. It's about manipulating conditions, changing variables, and proactively seeking out the evidence needed to test your hypothesis. It's the difference between hoping for an answer and actively creating the conditions to find one. Let's illustrate this with a simple, everyday example: cooking. Imagine you're making a batch of your grandmother's famous chocolate chip cookies, but you have a hypothesis. Your hypothesis is that adding an extra pinch of sea salt will elevate the chocolate flavor and balance the sweetness without making the cookies taste salty. If you were to engage in passive observation, you might just think about it. You might recall other recipes that use sea salt or imagine the taste in your mind. You might even wait until you happen to try a cookie from someone else that has extra salt. But you haven't truly tested your hypothesis for this recipe. Active experimentation, on the other hand, means you actually bake a batch of cookies. You deliberately add that extra pinch of sea salt to the dough. Then, you bake them, you taste them, and you observe the real-world outcome. Do they taste better? Is the chocolate flavor more pronounced? Is the sweetness balanced? This isn't just speculation, it's direct sensory engagement with your idea. You are actively creating the conditions to gather empirical data. This step, whether it's baking cookies, conducting a scientific experiment, or trying out a new approach in a business meeting, is vital because it creates new experiences. These experiences are not just answers, they are fresh data points, new observations, and tangible consequences that feed directly back into the cycle of thinking. If the cookies are amazing, your hypothesis is supported, and you've learned something concrete about balancing flavors. If they're too salty, you've learned a different, equally valuable lesson, and you now have new information to refine your approach next time. These new experiences are the fuel for future thinking. They expand your understanding, correct your misconceptions, and provide a richer foundation for forming future hypotheses. Dewey understood that our minds don't operate in a vacuum. True understanding, the kind that helps us navigate and shape our world effectively, is forged in the dynamic interplay between our internal reasoning and the external reality we inhabit. This is where reflection truly culminates in meaningful action and continuous learning. Welcome back. We're exploring John Dewey's insights on thinking, and today we focus on a trait often undervalued in adulthood: natural curiosity. Dewey saw it not as a childish phase, but as the pulsating engine of intellectual growth, the very lifeblood of effective thinking and lifelong learning. It's the superpower that transforms passive existence into active inquiry. Think about how we consume information: scrolling, skimming, clicking. We absorb data without truly engaging. This passive consumption is a mental buffet where we sample dishes but never truly savor or inquire how they were made. Genuine curiosity, for Dewey, is the antithesis of this. It's not passive reception, it's actively reaching out, asking questions, digging deeper. It's the difference between merely seeing a beautiful sunset and wondering about its atmospheric optics or cultural significance. One is experience, the other is inquiry fueled by curiosity. Curiosity, for Dewey, isn't monolithic, it unfolds in deepening stages. We can categorize this progression into 3 phases. First, what is it? This is the initial spark, the raw wonder leading to identification. A child asks, "What's that?" As adults, it's encountering an unfamiliar concept or phenomenon, feeling compelled to understand its nature. Genuine curiosity rarely stops at identification. It propels us into the second stage: how does it work? Here, inquiry shifts to understanding mechanics, processes, relationships. Knowing what a smartphone is isn't enough. A curious mind grasps how it connects, how its processor functions, and more. This stage involves observation, experimentation, and a persistent drive to uncover inner workings. The most profound level culminates in why does it matter? This stage transcends immediate function, delving into significance, implications, and value. Why does quantum physics matter to our daily lives? Why is historical context crucial for interpreting current events? This final stage connects phenomena to broader systems, ethics, and human experience, giving meaning to our understanding. It's where critical thinking truly blossoms, assessing the impact and relevance of our knowledge. How do we awaken this vital superpower in our distracted lives? It starts with small, deliberate practices. First, challenge assumptions. Is that really true? And why? Second, practice mindful observation. Notice intricate patterns in a leaf, the mechanics of a zipper. Don't just see, observe. Third, embrace the unfamiliar, read 5 minutes daily on new topics. Fourth, engage diverse perspectives, seek differing opinions to understand their how and why. Finally, cultivate wondering time, a few minutes daily, to simply sit with an unanswered question, allowing your mind to explore possibilities without immediate pressure for a solution. This reawakened curiosity isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's the bedrock for effective reflective thinking, directly fueling Dewey's 5 thinking steps. Those steps begin with recognizing a problem. What makes us recognize it? Curiosity itself, the discomfort with the unknown, the itch to understand, pushing us to define the problem clearly. As we suggest hypotheses and reason, curiosity provides sustained motivation to explore avenues, investigate evidence, and resist superficial answers. Without it, testing solutions feels like a chore. With it, it's an exciting exploration, a quest for truth. Curiosity provides the emotional and intellectual momentum to persevere through critical inquiry, transforming passive learning into active discovery, making us not just consumers of information, but architects of understanding. Welcome back to our journey through John Dewey's How We Think. Today, we're diving into Chapter 9, Why Experience is Your Best and Worst Teacher. It's a paradox, isn't it? We often hear that experience is invaluable, the ultimate educator. And it is, but only if we approach it with the right mindset. Dewey, ever the pragmatist, offered a profoundly nuanced view on experience, one that challenges us to look beyond mere participation and into the realm of true understanding. What Dewey makes clear is that not all experiences are created equal, at least not in their capacity to foster genuine learning. He drew a vital distinction between what we might call thoughtless experience and thoughtful experience. Consider thoughtless experience. This is when we simply go through the motions, encounter situations, and react to them without much conscious deliberation. We might perform a task the same way every time because that's how we've always done it, or avoid certain situations due to a single past negative encounter without ever truly unpacking why that initial experience unfolded as it did. This kind of raw, unexamined experience can be a dangerous thing. Rather than leading to growth, it can solidify rigid habits, entrench biases, and even foster deep-seated prejudices. It creates a comfortable rut, a set of automatic responses that prevent us from seeing new possibilities or adapting to changing circumstances. Your brain creates shortcuts based on past data, and without reflection, these shortcuts can become limiting beliefs, shutting down pathways to further understanding before you even begin. Maybe you had one bad experience trying a new hobby, and now you tell yourself you're not good at new things, when in reality, that first attempt was just a learning opportunity. That's thoughtless experience at play, creating a barrier. The true transformative power of experience, Dewey argued, lies in its thoughtful counterpart. This is where reflection comes in, actively engaging with what has happened. It's about taking a step back, pausing, and asking critical questions. What just happened? Why did it happen that way? What did I do? What was the outcome? What could I have done differently? What does this mean for the future? This practice of reflection is what elevates raw data into genuine knowledge. Without it, we're merely accumulating events. With it, we're building wisdom. Reflection isn't passive rumination, it's an active process of analysis, synthesis, and re-evaluation. It's how we break free from the shackles of past conditioning and prevent our experiences from becoming limiting beliefs. It's how we turn potential prejudice into open-mindedness and automatic reaction into deliberate action. This brings us to a crucial insight, one worth repeating and internalizing. We don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. Think about that for a moment. Simply living through something isn't enough. It's the subsequent mental work, the analysis, the questioning, the seeking of deeper meaning that extracts the lesson. It's the difference between a child touching a hot stove once and simply avoiding it forever out of fear, versus a child understanding the principle of heat transfer and the need for caution. The latter involves reflection. So, as you navigate your daily life, consider the vast array of experiences you encounter. Are you merely accumulating them, letting them passively shape your habits and beliefs, potentially leading to stagnation and prejudice? Or are you actively engaging with them, turning each event, each challenge, each success into an opportunity for genuine learning and growth through thoughtful reflection? Dewey urges us to cultivate this reflective habit, to make it an integral part of our intellectual toolkit. Only then does experience truly become our best teacher rather than a silent architect of our limitations. Welcome to Chapter 10, The Tools of Thought, Words, and Meanings. If thinking is about navigating the world of ideas, then words are our compass, our map, and our very mode of transport. Dewey, in How We Think, brilliantly underscores that language isn't merely a way to express thought. It's fundamental to thought itself. Imagine trying to grasp a slippery concept without a name for it. Words, as Dewey suggests, are the handles we use to pick up, turn over, examine, and manipulate ideas. A robust and precise vocabulary doesn't just make you sound articulate, it enables you to think with greater precision and clarity. The sharper your tools, the finer your craft. This brings us to a crucial insight. You simply cannot think clearly about something you cannot name. If an idea or a distinction lacks a label, it remains fuzzy, indistinct, and difficult to work with. It's like trying to categorize an object you've never seen before or articulate a feeling you've never identified. The act of naming brings a concept into sharper focus, giving it a tangible presence in our minds. Consider the profound shift that occurs when you delve into a new field and begin to learn its specific lexicon. Take psychology, for instance. Before learning terms like cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias, or locus of control, you might have vaguely recognized these phenomena. But once you have the words, these complex human behaviors become distinct entities you can analyze, compare, and understand in depth. Similarly, in coding, mastering terms like loop, variable, function, or object-oriented programming isn't just about memorizing jargon. It unlocks entirely new frameworks for problem-solving and logical thought. These terms aren't just labels, they are conceptual frameworks, mini-theories in themselves, that allow us to structure and process information in sophisticated ways. Conversely, a significant impediment to clear thinking is the reliance on vague language or, worse, empty buzzwords. When we use phrases like synergistic paradigm shifts or leveraging dynamic core competencies without a precise understanding of what they actually mean, we're not demonstrating sophisticated thought, we're often obscuring it. Such language acts as a smokescreen, preventing both the speaker and the listener from truly engaging with concrete ideas. It's easy to hide behind ambiguity, but it utterly undermines the very purpose of thinking, to illuminate and understand. Dewey would implore us to cultivate a habit of linguistic diligence. Don't just gloss over a word you don't fully understand. Instead, actively look it up, clarify its definition, explore its etymology, and understand its nuances. This isn't just about expanding your vocabulary. It's about sharpening your mental tools. When you ensure that the words you use and encounter carry precise meaning, you're building a foundation for truly precise thinking. Make it a conscious practice to demand clarity from yourself and others. Ask, what exactly do you mean by that term? This simple question can cut through layers of fuzziness and bring ideas into stark relief. In essence, language is not just an outfit our thoughts wear, it's the very skeletal structure upon which they are built. To refine our thinking, we must first refine our words. They are, indeed, the most powerful tools in our intellectual toolkit. Welcome to Chapter 11 of our journey through John Dewey's How We Think. Today, we delve into the art of seeing observation versus inference, a crucial distinction that, when blurred, becomes a common source of thinking errors. So, what's the difference? Observation is simply what you perceive through your senses, what you actually see, hear, touch, taste, or smell. It's raw, unfiltered data. Inference, on the other hand, is the conclusion, interpretation, or explanation you draw from those observations. It's the story your mind tells itself about the facts. Let's try a quick mental exercise. Imagine you see someone standing with their arms crossed, a slight frown on their face, and they're looking at the ground. What's your immediate thought? Most of us would quickly infer that person is angry, they're upset, or they're feeling defensive. Now, let's break that down. Your observation was, I see a person with crossed arms, lowered eyebrows, and their gaze directed downwards. Your inference was, they are angry. Notice how quickly we jumped. Our brains are incredibly efficient, often too efficient, in making these leaps. We instantly try to make sense of the world by drawing conclusions, even with minimal data. The mark of a strong thinker, as Dewey would argue, is the conscious separation of these two steps. Instead of just accepting the initial inference as truth, they pause. They understand that while observations are factual, inferences are merely hypotheses that need further validation. They don't suppress the urge to infer, but they label it as an inference, not a certainty. Here's a mental model to carry with you. Whenever you encounter a situation, ask yourself, what did I actually see or hear? And then, what story did I tell myself about it? This simple two-part question creates that crucial pause. Why is this skill so powerful? Firstly, it's a potent tool for reducing bias. Our biases often reside in the unexamined leap from observation to inference. By separating them, we create space to challenge our own preconceived notions and question if our interpretation is truly the only or even the most likely explanation. Secondly, it dramatically improves communication. Imagine having a disagreement. Instead of saying, "You're clearly angry," which is an inference, you could say, "I observed your voice rising and your hands clenched, and I'm inferring you might be angry." Is that what's happening? This shifts the conversation from accusation to inquiry, fostering understanding rather than defensiveness. By consciously distinguishing between what is truly observed and what is inferred, we sharpen our perception, reduce misinterpretations, and make more accurate judgments. It's a fundamental discipline for anyone striving to think more clearly and effectively navigate the complexities of life. Practice this separation daily, and you'll unlock a new level of clarity in your thinking. Welcome to Chapter 12, The Enemy of Thought: Jumping to Conclusions. After exploring reflective thinking, it's time to confront the forces that actively work against it, the cognitive pitfalls Dewey meticulously warned us about, which remain strikingly relevant today. Dewey was deeply concerned with what he termed intellectual laziness, the mental equivalent of taking the path of least resistance. This isn't just about being unmotivated, it's a fundamental reluctance to engage with complexity, to dig deeper than the surface. Hand in hand with this goes prejudice, not merely in its social sense, but as a preconceived judgment, an opinion formed without sufficient reason or examination. It's the tendency to accept ideas, beliefs, and even facts without subjecting them to critical scrutiny. This uncritical acceptance means we often absorb information passively without ever asking, is this true? How do I know? What are the alternatives? Sound familiar? These intellectual shortcuts find their modern echo in concepts like confirmation bias. We as humans are predisposed to seek out, interpret, and favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. It's a powerful, often subconscious mechanism that can make us blind to contradictory evidence, reinforcing initial conclusions rather than challenging them. If we already believe something, our brains actively work to find reasons to justify that belief, making it incredibly difficult to objectively assess new information. The allure of easy, simple answers to complex problems is undeniably strong. Our brains are efficiency machines, always looking for ways to conserve energy. Faced with a multifaceted issue, be it a societal challenge, a personal dilemma, or a scientific puzzle, the temptation to grab onto the first plausible explanation, to oversimplify, or to cling to a convenient narrative is immense. It provides a sense of certainty, a comforting closure that genuine reflective thought often denies. Reflective thinking embraces uncertainty. It thrives in the messy middle, while our natural inclination yearns for quick resolutions. But good thinking, Dewey argued, demands more than mental agility. It requires profound intellectual courage. It's the courage to question your own deeply held convictions, to stand firm against popular opinion, and most importantly, the willingness to be wrong. To admit I don't know, or I was mistaken, isn't a sign of weakness. It's a hallmark of a disciplined mind. It means being open to revising your understanding, to changing your mind when confronted with compelling evidence. This willingness to be wrong is perhaps the ultimate antidote to dogmatism and rigidity. Therefore, reflective thought stands as the ultimate countermeasure, the antidote to this automatic, biased, and often lazy way of processing the world. It's the conscious effort to pause, to scrutinize, to explore alternatives, to weigh evidence impartially, and to consider consequences before forming a conclusion. It's a deliberate act of mental resistance against the pull of intellectual gravity, against the comfort of the familiar and the allure of the simple. It's how we move from reactive, prejudiced judgment to considered, informed understanding. By cultivating reflective habits, we arm ourselves against the subtle yet pervasive enemies of thought, ensuring our conclusions are built on solid ground, not on shifting sand. Welcome to Chapter 13, How School Sometimes Gets It Wrong. John Dewey was a fierce critic of educational systems that prioritized the mere accumulation of facts. For Dewey, rote memorization, that endless drill of names, dates, and formulas, fundamentally missed the point of what education truly ought to be. He argued that such an approach teaches us what to think, cramming our minds with pre-digested conclusions rather than empowering us with the capacity for independent thought. The problem with learning simply what to think is that it often leads to inert knowledge, facts stored away, disconnected from real-world application, unable to adapt to new situations or challenges. It leaves us ill-equipped when we encounter something that doesn't fit neatly into a predefined category. Dewey's vision was radically different. He championed an education that cultivates the habit of how to think. The true goal, he believed, is not to impart a static body of information, but to foster the very processes of reflective thinking, critical inquiry, and problem-solving. This means moving beyond passive absorption to active engagement. Think about how we truly learn outside the classroom. It's often through grappling with real-world problems. A broken appliance, a difficult decision, a puzzling social dynamic. These are the scenarios that naturally compel us to observe, question, formulate hypotheses, test solutions, and ultimately draw conclusions. This is the essence of problem-based learning, not just within educational institutions, but as a fundamental approach to navigating everyday life. Dewey encourages us to become active participants in our own learning, to shed the role of a mere recipient of information. Don't wait for knowledge to be handed to you. Seek it out, wrestle with it, and construct your understanding. Your intellectual growth isn't a spectator sport. It demands your full, engaged presence. And here's where our trusty 5-step method, the framework we've explored throughout this book, emerges as the ultimate tool for this kind of self-education. It's not just a theoretical concept, it's a practical, actionable blueprint for independent thought. When you encounter a perplexity, clearly define the difficulty, locate relevant information, develop possible solutions, reason through their implications, and then test your ideas in practice. This systematic approach transforms uncertainty into clarity, confusion into insight. By embracing this method, you don't just learn about reflective thinking, you embody it. You become the architect of your own understanding, ready to confront any intellectual challenge, not with a list of memorized answers, but with a powerful, adaptable process for discovery. This is how we move beyond simply getting it wrong and start getting it right, not just in school, but in every facet of a truly thoughtful life. Welcome back to our exploration of John Dewey's profound insights into how we think. Throughout our journey, we've meticulously dissected the mechanics of reflective thought, from the initial perplexity to the final testing of ideas. But to stop there would be to miss a crucial dimension of Dewey's philosophy, a dimension he champions as indispensable for truly great thinking. For Dewey, thinking isn't merely a skill to be acquired, a method to be followed. It is, at its very core, a fundamental aspect of one's character. In this chapter, we delve into the intellectual virtues that elevate a mere problem solver into a truly thoughtful individual, virtues that shape not just what we think, but who we are as thinkers. First among these vital traits is open-mindedness. For Dewey, this isn't simply a vague nicety or a willingness to entertain all ideas equally, regardless of their merit. Instead, he defines open-mindedness as the active willingness to consider new evidence, even when that evidence contradicts our most cherished beliefs, our deepest convictions, or our habitual ways of seeing the world. It's the readiness to suspend judgment, to challenge our own assumptions, and to genuinely listen to perspectives that may initially seem unsettling or even wrong. This virtue demands intellectual humility, a recognition that our current understanding is always provisional, subject to revision in the face of new data or a more robust argument. An open mind is not an empty mind, but one that is perpetually receptive to growth and re-evaluation, choosing inquiry over dogma. Closely intertwined with open-mindedness is intellectual responsibility. This virtue transcends the mere formation of beliefs. It compels us to understand the potential consequences of our beliefs, both for ourselves and for the wider world. A responsible thinker recognizes that ideas are not inert, they have power, they shape actions, and they influence outcomes. This means engaging in a rigorous and honest appraisal of the implications of our convictions. If we believe X, what logically follows? What are the practical ramifications if others adopt this belief? Intellectual responsibility demands that we take ownership of our mental landscape, holding ourselves accountable for the conclusions we draw and the justifications we offer. It's the commitment to pursue truth with a keen awareness of the ethical and practical impact of that pursuit. Finally, Dewey introduces wholeheartedness, a term that beautifully captures the genuine enthusiasm and complete dedication essential for sustained, deep inquiry. Wholeheartedness is the antithesis of apathy or half-hearted engagement. It's the intrinsic drive, the passionate curiosity that propels us to fully immerse ourselves in a problem, to explore every angle, to leave no stone unturned. It's the joy in discovery, the resilience in the face of intellectual obstacles, and the sustained commitment to finding the best possible understanding, even when the path is difficult or uncertain. This virtue isn't about mere intellectual exercise, it's about a vibrant, living engagement with the world of ideas, fueled by a genuine desire for clarity and truth. These three virtues, open-mindedness, intellectual responsibility, and wholeheartedness, are not optional extras. They are, in Dewey's view, as fundamentally important as mastering the five-step method of reflective thinking we discussed earlier. The method provides the structure, the scaffolding for effective thought. But these virtues provide the engine, the ethical compass, and the very spirit of inquiry. Without open-mindedness, the method becomes rigid and dogmatic. Without intellectual responsibility, it risks becoming reckless or self-serving. And without wholeheartedness, it devolves into a lifeless, superficial exercise. True intellectual maturity, according to Dewey, lies in the cultivation of these character traits. They transform thinking from a mere technique into a profound way of being, fostering individuals who are not just skilled at solving problems, but who embody the very essence of critical, ethical, and engaged citizenship. Embracing these virtues is how we move beyond simply doing thinking to being a great thinker. We've journeyed through the intricacies of how we think, understanding Dewey's framework for cultivating intellectual rigor. Now, in our final chapter, Chapter 15, we lift our gaze beyond the personal and see how this profound individual skill ripples out to shape not just our own lives, but the very fabric of society itself. This is thinking for a better life and a better world. At its core, mastering the art of thinking, as Dewey articulates, is deeply personal. It's about enhancing your own well-being. Imagine navigating life's complexities with greater clarity, making decisions not based on impulse or prejudice, but on careful analysis and informed judgment. This disciplined approach reduces confusion, minimizes regret, and empowers you to pursue your goals with a heightened sense of purpose and effectiveness. From personal finances to career choices, from resolving conflicts to understanding your own emotions, the tools of reflective thought provide an invaluable compass. You become a more resilient, adaptable, and self-aware individual, capable of learning from experience and continuously growing. But the beauty of a well-trained mind doesn't terminate with the individual. It's a light that naturally illuminates its surroundings. When individuals cultivate critical thinking, They bring that same rigor to their interactions, their communities, and their civic responsibilities. A truly healthy society, a vibrant democracy, hinges on the capacity for thoughtful public discourse. Without citizens who can analyze information, evaluate arguments, and engage in constructive debate, our collective decision-making falters. Prejudice triumphs over evidence, slogans replace substance, and progress stalls. Dewey understood that democracy isn't just a political system, it's a way of life, sustained by citizens who are willing and able to think deeply about shared problems, to question assumptions, and to seek solutions through reasoned deliberation. Better thinkers make better citizens, capable of discerning truth from manipulation, holding power accountable, and contributing meaningfully to the common good. They are the bedrock of informed public opinion, essential for navigating complex challenges from climate change to social justice. Therefore, the pursuit of clear thinking is far from a selfish endeavor. It is, in fact, one of the most significant contributions you can make to the collective. Every time you pause to question, to research, to analyze, to synthesize, you're not only sharpening your own intellect, you're also fortifying the intellectual capital of your community. You are modeling intellectual integrity, encouraging others to do the same, and subtly elevating the standard of discourse around you. It's an act of civic responsibility, a quiet revolution of reason that builds stronger bonds and fosters genuine understanding. Remember this, the power of a single, well-trained mind is immeasurable. It can challenge long-held dogmas, ignite new ideas, inspire action, and guide societies towards a more enlightened future. Your journey with how we think isn't just about reading a book, it's an invitation to cultivate that power within yourself. It's an invitation to think better, live better, and ultimately, to help build a better world, one thoughtful idea at a time. The future of our collective well-being rests, in part, on the quality of our individual and shared thought. Embrace the challenge, embrace the discipline, and unleash the potential of your own thinking. Now, it's one thing to understand Dewey's process of reflective thinking conceptually, but another entirely to weave it into the fabric of your daily life. That's where our 7-day Think Better action plan comes in. This isn't about grand philosophical leaps, it's about micro-habits, tiny shifts that, compounded over time, transform how you approach challenges. Each day, we'll tackle a simple, actionable step designed to help you immediately apply these powerful concepts and turn them into lasting habits. Ready to truly start thinking better? Let's dive in. Your journey begins with day 1 and day 2, the problem finder. Dewey taught us that thinking isn't a random act, it's always sparked by a felt difficulty, a perplexity, a blockage, something that disrupts our usual flow. For these first 2 days, your challenge is to become a conscious detective of these moments. Actively identify and write down one felt difficulty from your day. It doesn't have to be a monumental crisis. Maybe it's the recurring frustration of your morning commute, a snag in a conversation, or a small obstacle at work. The key is to notice it, acknowledge it, and specifically articulate what makes it a difficulty. Journal it, voice note it, just get it out of your head and onto paper or screen. Spend both days practicing this keen observation. Moving into day 3 and day 4, we activate the idea generator. Now that you've pinpointed your problem, it's time to unleash your creative problem-solving muscles. For the felt difficulty you identified on day 1 or 2, your challenge is to brainstorm at least 5 possible solutions. Crucially, do this without judgment. No idea is too silly, too simple or too outlandish at this stage. The goal here is quantity and uninhibited exploration. Think divergent. List everything that comes to mind, even if it feels incomplete or imperfect. We're simply opening the floodgates of possibility. On day 5 and day 6, we engage in the mental simulator. This is where your ideas start to gain structure and consequence. From the 5 solutions you brainstormed, choose the one you feel has the most potential, or even just the one that intrigues you most. Your task now is to vividly imagine its real-world application. Write down the if-then consequences. If I implement this solution, then this might happen. Consider both positive and negative outcomes. How would others react? What resources would it require? What new problems might it create? This isn't about making a final decision yet, but about mentally testing the waters, anticipating potential pitfalls and benefits, much like a scientist predicts the outcome of an experiment. Finally, we arrive at day 7, the reality check. After all this observation, brainstorming, and mental simulation, it's time to bring one idea to life. Choose your best, most refined solution, or even just a small, manageable part of it. Your challenge is to take one small, real-world action to test this idea. This isn't about solving the entire problem in one go. It might be sending an email, trying a slightly different route, asking a clarifying question, or rearranging your desk. The action should be small enough to feel achievable, but significant enough to give you some tangible feedback. Observe what happens. Did your prediction hold true? What did you learn? This step closes the reflective loop, taking you from theory to practice and back again, enriching your understanding and preparing you for the next cycle of thoughtful action. This 7-day plan isn't a magic bullet that solves all your problems overnight. It's a foundational practice. By committing to these daily challenges, you're not just learning about Dewey, you're doing Dewey. You're systematically developing the habits of mind that lead to clearer thinking, more effective problem solving, and ultimately, a more reflective and intentional life. Keep practicing. The more you apply these steps, the more intuitive and powerful they become. You're building a muscle, and with every rep, you're strengthening your ability to think better. All right, we've journeyed deep into John Dewey's How We Think, uncovering powerful insights into the very nature of thought. Now, let's distill it all into 3 transformative ideas, principles you can carry with you, ready to reshape how you approach every challenge, every decision. These aren't just concepts, they're an invitation to a richer, more effective intellectual life. First, and perhaps most crucially, real thinking begins not with an answer, but with a problem. Embrace uncertainty. This is a radical shift for many. We're often conditioned to seek immediate solutions, to quell discomfort quickly. But Dewey shows us that genuine inquiry, leading to profound understanding and innovation, sprouts from perplexity, doubt, and intellectual difficulty. Instead of running from the unknown, lean into it. Let the problem define the path, not a premature solution. It's in wrestling with the question that true insight is sown. Resist the urge to jump to conclusions. Cultivate the patience to dwell in the question. Second, equip yourself with a powerful mental compass, Dewey's 5-step framework. Remember them as feel, define, suggest, reason, and test. This isn't rigid dogma, but a flexible, intuitive guide for navigating complex situations. First, feel the problem, acknowledging perplexity. Then define it clearly, articulating the specific difficulty. Next, suggest possible solutions or hypotheses. Let your imagination roam. After that, reason through those suggestions, exploring their implications logically. Finally, test your most promising ideas through mental experimentation or real-world application to confirm their validity. This framework offers a robust, systematic approach to problem-solving, turning vague confusion into structured inquiry. It's your reliable roadmap for thinking effectively. And finally, remember, this thinking isn't merely a skill, it's a profound habit and a fundamental character trait. This insight elevates thinking beyond a classroom exercise. It's about cultivating a way of being in the world. To think well is to embody curiosity, to possess a genuine desire to understand, to maintain open-mindedness that welcomes new perspectives, and to embrace intellectual responsibility. It's about continually questioning, reflecting, and learning. It's a muscle you develop through consistent practice and a disposition you foster through conscious effort. Make critical, reflective thought a cornerstone of your daily existence, and you will not only solve problems more effectively, but also grow as an individual, shaping a more considered and meaningful life. These three ideas, starting with the problem, employing the framework, and cultivating thinking as a habit, are not just takeaways, they are tools for transformation. Embrace them, practice them, and watch how they empower you to think more clearly, live more intentionally, and engage with the world more profoundly. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of John Dewey's enduring wisdom. So, we've journeyed through John Dewey's profound insights on reflective thinking, breaking down his 5 essential steps into actionable understanding. But learning isn't just about absorbing information, it's about application, about transforming knowledge into wisdom through practice. This is where you come in. I'm genuinely eager to hear from you. What is one specific problem, a challenge in your personal life, your work, or even a community issue that you are now going to consciously apply Dewey's 5-step method to? Let the comments section become our collective laboratory for better thinking. Share your intentions, your initial observations, and perhaps even your breakthroughs right there below. If this exploration of how we think resonated with you, if it offered a fresh perspective or clarified a long-standing question, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. Your engagement not only signals what content you find most valuable, but also helps these critical ideas reach more minds seeking to improve their cognitive processes. And to ensure you continue your journey with us into the fascinating world of practical philosophy, where ancient wisdom meets modern application, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're always informed about our latest discussions designed to sharpen your intellect and enrich your life. While this video provides a robust introduction to Dewey's framework, there is immense value in experiencing his ideas firsthand. To truly immerse yourself in the depth and nuance of his work, I wholeheartedly recommend acquiring and reading How We Think by John Dewey. It's not merely a book, it's a timeless guide to cultivating intellectual honesty and rigor, an essential text for anyone committed to mastering the art of critical thought. Engaging directly with his prose will undoubtedly deepen your understanding and equip you with an even more powerful toolkit for navigating the complexities of the world. And speaking of navigating complexities, our philosophical exploration is far from over. Prepare yourselves for our next discussion, where we'll shift our focus to an equally vital component of effective thinking, the often underestimated power of keen observation. We'll delve into how truly seeing the world around us, beyond surface appearances, forms the bedrock of insightful problem solving and creative discovery. It's a perfect follow-up to Dewey, showing how we gather the rich data that fuels our reflective processes. So, stay tuned, sharpen your senses, and get ready to observe the world with new eyes.